Check out the video description for details. It's Wednesday, August 16th. I'm back from travels, but I may have gotten some sort of cold from staying at the hotel, so maybe another brief one today. Here's what we got coming up. We're going to talk about this month's stock purchase, made it this morning. We're going to look at some Apple news, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about charts and doing some swing trading stuff that folks want to see. So let's start with Apple, and Apple is in the news because they've got some original programming coming up. I'll show you this article. It's over at Mac Rumors. It's all over the place, as a matter of fact. $1 billion towards original programming to develop their own TV shows. What do I think about this? I like it better than them buying Disney or Netflix. It's a cheap option to develop their own shows. If the shows are good, we'll see what properties they buy up, or if they come up with stuff off the top of their head. To me, though, I like this. To me, shows AT&T strategy is a good one, where they're getting HBO and stuff. So people are looking for content to pair along with their services. That's a good thing. We'll wait and see what Apple develops. If it's high quality like HBO and Netflix originals, it'll certainly be a great move. But right now the story is their services and the phone. Apple's a great stock to own, so buy it up. This is something certainly to keep an eye on. Now, before we talk about this month's stock purchase, I want to do a little bit on our charting. I bought this month's stock for a specific reason. I want to test out some of my swing trading strategies that I'm going to be doing that we'll talk about in future episodes on the shows, to say, hey, this is what I'm looking at my price point. One, to see if the if my settings are correct and if it's working out. So let me just pull up a blank screen. We'll draw some charts to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So as stocks trade, there's some variation in the stock. So let's just draw a simple chart here. So as stock trades, let's pick a good color here. Probably should have used a little bit slower. So it trades like so. And we'll go that far. Now, depending on what you use, there are standard deviation away as it hits these tops and bottom points, and you can usually chart them. And there's an upper limit that rolls, and then there's a lower limit, if you're following along with me here. Okay? So the general idea is, when the stock hits your upper limit, that's when you sell it. When it hits around the lower limit, that's where you buy it. Now there's the in-between ground. Let's see if I can use another color, which is your simple moving average, which goes in the middle. Some people wait till it hits that and then buy off the dips or whatever. But the idea is that the stock, it will move in this range. Now, with that idea, I'll come back to this here. With that idea, this month's purchase, I bought up 4 more shares of GameStop for the kid's portfolio. With the idea is, it was about a $21 entry point, and it's going to go up to 22 and some change. Now, this was probably the worst time to check this theory out, because they have an event coming up, which is their earnings. So why I don't like to make these trades when the event comes up is because when the event comes, that's where you see some shifts. So let's say This is their earnings date, right about here. So off of that earnings, you could see it's either going to stay along that range, okay, where it will go along, stay in that direction within those range, and keep doing whatever it's been doing, or it could have a positive event where it will shift up, and then you'll see it trading up here. If there's room on the screen, sure there is. And it'll trade in between like that. You'll have a shift up. Or it'll be bad and it will be way down in the dumps like this, and it'll establish a new average and control limits of where it trades. So that's why I don't like doing it. Now, you could have a good idea of whether it's going to be positive earnings or negative earnings, and people buy ahead of that, and you could see these huge spikes, 10% or whatever. But if it stays within its range, I'm saying there's a shift of $1 for GameStop, and I want to test that out. Now, again, I did something foolish. I did it while the earnings is coming up, so you could see a shift here or here, and then it reestablishes its boundaries, or they stay flat. Now, over the year, I expect GameStop to stay flat, which isn't a bad stock to have in your back pocket for one to trade. If it stays flat all year, then you have lots of opportunities within the range, if it's shifting a couple of percentage, to make those trades, if any of this makes sense. So the idea was picked up GameStop, testing to see if it'll move that dollar that I expect it to, see how it acts along with NVIDIA and some other ones that I'm looking at, so I can dial in the settings of where I think the upper and lower limits are of the stock as it trades. So testing that out with GameStop, I think it's going to be a $1 move. We'll see earnings. It's going to be really close to earnings. So hopefully I didn't waste my time with this, but I am tracking some other ones. I felt it was kind of a safe bet earnings wise. If they have a nice beat, that'll be good news for the kids' portfolio and their stocks. So sloppy as always when I'm doing my testing here. That's why I say, look at all the opinions out there. Just don't rely on mine, because I do silly stuff once in a while. But that's what we're looking at. That's what we bought. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments below. We'll try and do 1 or 2 a week where we look at some target prices, and we'll track them, see where they end up with. Just got to dial it in for folks. A lot of people said they want to see that, so we're going to go with it. So that's this month's buy, added to some GameStop. Not a very popular pick amongst people. I like the dividend. I think their turnaround is going to be great. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take a little bit of time, and for the kids' long-term portfolio, that's perfect. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Share it with folks. Let people know. Give us your opinions. Put it in the comments below. Any article we talk about, we put in the link of the description. So give us some feedback. We're trying to grow the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you get the latest investing news for gamers, and we will see you tomorrow.